guys, welcome back to All Up in Your Business. I'm attorney Aiden Durham with 180 Law Co. in Colorado, and today we're going to have a little fun because we're going to go through your comments and answer your business address questions. That's right. Interestingly enough, I've done some videos here and there talking about business addresses and stuff, and they bring up a lot of questions. So we're going to go through them and answer some of those questions. Before we get into all of that fun stuff though, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and click that little notification bell so you get notified when I post a new video. Check the description for some links to additional information and resources. It's kind of the end of the day around here behind the scenes at All Up in Your Business and 180 Law Co. So, and it's been a long day. So while I'm doing the rest of this, I'm gonna just pour myself a quick cocktail real quick. Don't mind me. I've got a nice little glass of potato juice here. Oh, that's an old term. Some of Grandpa's old cough syrup. And I just found these at a good old Trader Joe's, the lemon elderflower soda. I'm gonna mix that in, and I can bet you it's gonna be delicious. I haven't had it before. Okay, so legal disclaimer. I'm a lawyer. Oh boy, I put a lot of potato juice in there. Okay, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. The stuff that I talk about in any of my videos isn't a substitute for actual legal advice. If you need legal help, consult with a lawyer who's licensed in your state. Don't rely on free info you get from YouTube, okay? Yeah, that's strong. Maybe a little more. Okay. I've also got to give a big thank you to our friends over at Alliance Virtual Offices for partnering up with us for this episode. Alliance is going to give you everything you need to start and run your business flexibly. We're talking about business addresses here, so when it comes to the business address, Alliance, of course, is going to get you covered with their virtual office address services, so you can have a private and professional and credible business address for your business. But they're not going to stop just there. They've also got you covered with their live receptionist service. If you're tired of picking up your own phones, maybe you're tired of wasting that time talking to customers when you could be working on your clients, or maybe even worse, you don't have the time to pick up the phone and you're missing calls from potential customers, potential clients. You have to do a lot of back and forth with scheduling meetings. Let's just get rid of all that nonsense and have some friendly, professional folks over at Alliance actually answering your phone for you, so you don't have to worry about it. You can just focus on your business. I've got a really special offer for you guys today as well. You can use my promo code GO180LawCo at checkout with Alliance Virtual Offices, and you're gonna save 50% on their setup fee for a new virtual office service. You can use the link in the description, and again, don't forget to use that promo code GO180LawCo at checkout to save 50% on the setup fee for your virtual office service with Alliance. Thank you, Alliance, and cheers to you. Okay, let's do it, you guys. Let's get into your business address questions. Hi, great video, but I still need clarification on the registered agent. You say I need 2 addresses when setting up an LLC. The virtual office cannot be the registered agent. That is primarily going to depend on the virtual office that you go with. You don't need 2 different addresses, but the documents, the articles of organization are going to require at least 2 address spots. They can be the same address, but you're going to need the LLC, the principal office address, and you're going to need the registered agent address. If you're going through a service like Alliance for your virtual office address, you'll need to check with them, whatever virtual office service you're using, check with them and see if they're okay with you using that virtual office address also for the registered agent address. Many of them don't want you to do this. I don't want to speak for Alliance because I don't work for them. They're just a trusted brand partner of mine, but last I spoke with them, I believe that they don't allow people to use their address as the registered agent address. It takes on a whole host of additional responsibilities and kind of liability and risk to be the registered agent. So I don't believe Alliance wants you to do that. There might be some virtual office services out there that also offer registered agent services. Ultimately, it's going to depend. You need to check with your virtual office and see if they permit you to use your address as both. I'm trying to get my business license in my city, but my landlord doesn't allow it. How do I get around it? All I need is a business license number. So this comes up every once in a while. If you are renting, your landlord may not permit you to operate a business out of the property, or they may prohibit you from using that address as a business address. If they're not going to permit you to operate the business from your rental, then there's not a whole lot of way around that aside from convincing your landlord to permit it. But if it's just the address issue, if the landlord just doesn't want the address as like the LLC address, then this is a perfect option for using something like a virtual office through Alliance Virtual Offices, of course. That lets you do it. You can still, assuming your landlord doesn't mind, you can still run the thing out of your house, but you're not using that address as your LLC's address. You can use your virtual office address instead. Does iPostal One offer registered agent services, or just like a UPS physical address store? I'm not super familiar with iPostal or iPostal One. Again, each company, a UPS or a registered agent or a virtual office, each company will have different rules on how you can use their services. I'm assuming iPostal or iPostal One is just a mailing address similar to the UPS physical address store. I would assume they don't want you to use their address as the registered agent because they don't want to act as the registered agent, and there's nobody there from your company to act as the registered agent at that address. So again, it's going to depend. I would assume though that iPostal is the same idea as getting a private mailbox through UPS. How can I change the address for my LLC? Typically, we can do this relatively easy by just filing a form with the Secretary of State's office in the state where your LLC is registered. The name of the form is going to depend on the state. In Colorado, we would file a statement of change, changing the principal office address for the entity. There might be an amendment form to amend the address or some other kind of change document. You might also be able to update this when you are filing maybe your annual report or your periodic report if your state has one of those due. And typically you can kind of update the business address when you're filing that form. So it's going to depend on your state, but there should be some form available that you can file online typically to update the address. Is this similar to what USPS offers if you fill out the 1583A, or is that completely different? I think it's the same idea. USPS private mailbox or a PO box or something, and same thing with UPS private mailbox. Anytime someone's accepting mail on behalf of a third party, they almost always have to fill out this form, the 1583A. I haven't verified if that's the correct form, so don't take my word on that. Let's take this commenter's word on it that that's the correct form. But yeah, you have to fill out a form to let the post office know that they can deliver your mail there and to make it all, legit and cool. That is slightly different than what you'll get from an actual virtual office, though, like with Alliance. They're not solely accepting mail on your behalf. That's what the UPSs, the USPS, these mailboxes, they're just taking mail on your behalf, maybe scanning it to you, forwarding it to you, something like that. Of course, a virtual office like with Alliance, they're going to do that as well, but they're going to have a lot of other services available to you. They have an actual physical office location that if you wanted to meet with clients or meet with business partners there, depending on your plan or your service, you may have an opportunity to book a private conference room or a meeting space. Often they'll have copiers available and other resources. So the virtual office access usually gives you a lot more than we're just taking your mail and then giving it to you when you need it. I'm a truck driver and I stay on the road year round. Can you use a virtual address for my CDL license as well, instead of me paying my friend for a room at his house I really don't use? Again, it's gonna depend. I don't know. I don't know if states will allow you to use a virtual office address as like your address on your license, whether it's a commercial or a normal license. I don't know. I do know I have a close family member who put up a fight to have his PO box be the address on his driver's license. I believe it wasn't easy, but he was able to get it done. I think especially now in our current world where people are much more mobile, people are, living in their vans and living on their boats and traveling around, digital nomads. It's becoming increasingly common to not have a real physical address that you live at. So I'm I'm guessing there might be ways that you can, if the state or, whatever agency is issuing your driver's license, if the state doesn't have a problem with it, then yeah, you can use your virtual office address on your driver's license. I don't see why not. If they give you some pushback, you might need to, I don't know, pull some strings, try to convince them one way or the other. But again, ultimately it depends on the laws, and I don't know all of the laws of all of the states, so I can't tell you for sure. Sorry. Can I still take a home office deduction on tax filings if I register a virtual office address on my legal paperwork? Usually, yeah. If you're still actually working from home, you're running the business from home, but you also have this virtual office address, you can still take the home office deductions. Having that virtual office address isn't going to negate your ability to take those home office deductions or anything like that. If anything, it's just an additional deduction that you get to take for your business, that cost for the virtual office address. Can I use Alliance Virtual Office's address to register my business as well? I'm not sure if you're asking, can you use that address that you get through Alliance on your LLC paperwork to register your paper or to register your business, then yeah, that's the purpose of it, is to be your business address. If you're asking, can Alliance actually register the business for you? No, they're a virtual office service. They don't do, as far as I know, they don't do LLC formation services. I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain they don't. So no, you would need to go through another company or an attorney, or take care of that part on your own separately somehow. I'm a big fan of Taylor Brands and their LLC formation tool. It's super easy. You can check them out, and I'll give a little discount code for some of their other plans. You can see all those details in the description. Okay, more address questions. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm kind of surprised that so many questions come up about addresses. I mean, I love it. It means you guys are watching my videos, so the more questions, the better. Anyway, do you need a virtual office, or do you need a virtual address for a sole proprietorship DBA? I know with LLC it's best, but it's sole proprietor. Protected due to its level of business structure, is it best to still get one? You don't need a virtual address for anything. You don't need it for anything. It's an option, a good option if you want to keep like your home address off of any paperwork. With an LLC, the LLC address is right there on the forms. You're required to provide some kind of an address. Not all DBA registrations require that we give an address, I believe. So if you're registering your sole proprietorship, the DBA for your sole proprietorship, and it asks for an address on that form, if you don't want to use your home address or something, then yeah, a virtual office address is a great alternative, just the same way as it is for an LLC. The idea is, if you don't want to use your home address or whatever address you've already got, if you don't want to use that for your business, regardless of the entity type or lack thereof, then a virtual office is a great option. But it's never going to be required. You can use your home address. That's perfectly fine. If you use Alliance for virtual and another address for agent address, which address do you use for building credit, like with Dunn's? I think that's what that's asking. It would be, so your virtual office address, the purpose of it is that it's your business address. This is the address we're using to tell people where our business is located, or where they can send mail or money for our business to. The registered agent address is not that. The registered agent address is the registered agent's address. It's not the business address. They can sometimes, depending on circumstances, they can be the same address, but they're two completely different purposes. If you're trying to build credit, if you're setting up your Dunn's account or anything else, you would use the business address for those things, because the registered agent's address is just the registered agent's address. Use the business address. If it's a virtual office address, then use that one. I used a virtual PO box to register my LLC business, and the bank will not let me open a business bank account without having proof of like a water bill or electric bill. What do you suggest? I suggest talking to another bank or another banker. Usually, I experienced the similar kind of issue when I was opening up a new account a few years ago, because I had a virtual office address at the time as well, and my bank, I used Chase for most of my business banking. They wanted my actual address. They wanted to know, like, where am I actually going to be? All they needed was my home address. I gave it to them. It's not like, you know, they're not publicizing my address anywhere. I don't care if the bankers know my home address. address. So talk to the bank that you've been working with. Say, well, I can give you my home address or something if they want that, but the mailing address, like the primary address on the account, what shows up on checks, that should be your virtual office address. If the bank has a problem with that, again, try a different bank. Plenty of banks won't give you that issue. Can you use an out-of-state address for an LLC in a different state when starting it, but working in the state you started LLC? If that makes sense. Can you use an out-of-state address for LLC in a different state when starting it, but working in the state you started the LLC? I don't exactly get what you're asking, but can you use an out-of-state address for an LLC? Usually, sometimes it depends on the state. Many states don't require, if you're gonna form, let's take Colorado for example. Colorado, you can form an LLC there without having a physical LLC address there. I can use an address in Utah as my principal office address to form an LLC in Colorado. I still need a registered agent who's physically located in Colorado, but my principal office address can be anywhere. Some states though, I believe California is one of them, they require, if you're gonna register there, you need an address that's actually in California. So sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. You also might still have to deal with foreign entity authorization or filing in that second state, but to answer your question, it depends on the state. Sometimes you can use an out-of-state address when setting up the LLC. Sometimes you can't. How important is a different phone number, or should you use your regular phone number when completing the application for an EIN? So, okay, this isn't an address question, but it's a phone number question. Specifically on the EIN application, the tax ID number application through the IRS, doesn't matter. Use whatever phone number you want to. If you only have one, if it's your cell phone, like lots of us, that's our only phone number, use that. Only the IRS is gonna have it. I've never had the IRS call me and I've filed for a lot of EINs. I've never once had them call me. I guess my phone number doesn't appear. Well, no, it does. Whatever, the IRS probably isn't going to call you. If you get calls from the IRS, it's probably a scam. So as far as that goes, you can use it whatever address you want. Any other instances, or phone number you want. In any other instances, it's kind of a personal choice. When you're running your business, if you want to use your cell phone number, if you have a home phone, if you want to use that phone number for your business, you can. It's not great though, because you know, your name might show up on caller ID when you're calling, or maybe you just don't want all your customers and clients to have your cell phone number. So, you know, it's better in some instances to get a dedicated business phone number. You know, Google Voice is a popular option, free. You can get a fake number and just still use your cell phone. Alliance Virtual Offices, of course, can also help you with getting a dedicated business phone number and live receptionist to answer that phone number. So ultimately, for the EIN, it doesn't matter. Everywhere else, personal decision, but overall, I don't suggest using your cell phone number because it's just going to get messy after a while. All right, and that brings us to the end of our address questions. Great round of questions this time, you guys. If you've got more address, virtual office address, more questions about how that all works with your business, you know, go ahead and comment them. Maybe I'll address them in the next one. And don't forget, if you are looking to set up a virtual office, or if you need a business phone number or live professional friendly receptionist to answer that business phone number, Alliance Virtual Offices is going to have you covered in all respects. And you'll be able to save 50% on the setup fee for a new virtual office service if you use my promo code GO180LACO, and you can check Alliance out using the link in the description. There's a lot of intersection here with office LLC address and registered agent address. This may have brought up more questions for you about, wait, what's the registered agent do then if it's not like for my business address? I've got more videos talking specifically about what a registered agent does. You can check one out right here. I'll meet you over there. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Aiden Durham, and I'll see you next time. Cheers. Woo! Clink, clink. All right, goodbye. Nailed it. Just nailed it out of the park. Business flexibly. My God, I almost tipped over my drink in case we need to do that one again.